Picture this, legends. It's 2 a.m. in a quiet Melbourne sharehouse, the kind of place where the floorboards creak and the fridge hums like it's hiding secrets. I'm asleep in my room, dreaming of my morning coffee when I hear it. A faint rustle, a drawer sliding open. Someone's in my room. Someone's after something I hold dear. And when I find out what they've taken and who they are, this house will never be the same again. G'day legends, Ethan here from Revenge Australia with a story that'll make your blood boil and your heart sing. If you've ever shared a house with a pack of blokes, you know the rules. You don't nick a mate's thongs, you don't leave dishes in the sink for a week, and you never touch another person's snacks, especially not their Tim Tams. This is a tale of betrayal, cunning, and the sweetest revenge I've ever dished out, literally. So grab a cuppa, lock up your biscuits, and settle in, because this one's got more twists than a Great Ocean Road drive, and it all starts with a missing pack of Tim Tams. I was living in a 4-bedroom sharehouse in Melbourne's northern suburbs. Brunswick, to be exact. You know the vibe. Hipster cafes on Sydney Road, dodgy rental wiring that sparks if you sneeze, and the faint hum of trams rattling by. Our place was a classic. Peeling paint, a couch reeking of VB, and a backyard with a rusty Hills hoist spinning in the breeze. Me and my 3 flatmates, Josh, Mick and Cam, were all mid-20s, scraping by on barista wages, uni assignments, and the occasional Centrelink top-up. The group chat was a battlefield of passive-aggressive emojis, and fridge space was worth more than gold. I'm a simple bloke. I pull early morning shifts at a cafe, slinging espresso shots for Karens who demand their oat milk lattes just so. After a brutal shift, my one escape, my sacred ritual, was collapsing on our rickety balcony with a cold brew in one hand and a pack of Tim Tams in the other. Double coat Tim Tams, chocolatey, creamy, melt in your mouth perfection. They were my reward, my peace, my bloody religion. I'd crack open the packet, do a Tim Tam slam with my coffee, bite off both ends, sip the brew through the biscuit, and let it melt in your mouth. That crunch, that creamy filling, it was my slice of Aussie heaven. Until it wasn't. One arvo, I dragged myself home after a double shift, feet throbbing, apron still smelling of coffee grounds. I headed straight for the pantry, ready for my ritual. But when I reached for my brand new, unopened pack of Tim Tams, it was gone. I stood there, staring at the empty shelf like I'd been punched in the gut. At first, I thought maybe I forgot to buy them, but the receipt was in my wallet. Coles, $4.50, Tim Tams, double coat. I checked the bin, and there it was, the crinkled wrapper, empty, mocking me. Someone in this house had eaten my Tim Tams. I fired off a message to the group chat. Ethan, oi, anyone seen my Tim Tams? Silence. Crickets. Then Cam, gym bro, protein shake chugger, always in a tank top 2 sizes too small, replied, Cam, nah mate, haven't seen 'em. Weird. Weird, alright. I let it slide that first time. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone was drunk and thought they were theirs. But then it happened again and again. Over 2 weeks, I bought 3 packs of Tim Tams. Every single one vanished. Empty wrappers in the bin, no confessions, just smug faces on the couch watching the block. I upped the stakes. I labelled the packets. Ethan's Tim Tams, do not touch. Didn't work. They still disappeared. I even hid a pack in my sock drawer, thinking no one would dare. Guess what? Gone. By now, I was fuming. This wasn't just about biscuits. This was personal. Someone was disrespecting me, my space, my ritual. And I was 90% sure it was Cam. He had that shifty look, always dodging eye contact when I mentioned the missing snacks. Josh was too straight edge, meal prepping his quinoa salads. Mick was barely home, gigging with his band. Cam, though, he was the type to borrow your stuff and call it no big deal, bro. I needed proof, and when I got it, I wasn't going to confront him. I was going to make him regret it. I hatched a plan, a delicious, devilish, chocolate-coated plan. Step 1, I bought 2 packs of Tim Tams. One was the real deal, my sacred stash, hidden in a locked Tupperware under my bed. The other, that was the trap. I'd been binging true crime docos, and I got inspired. I borrowed a heat sealer from the cafe and carefully opened the decoy packet without tearing it. I took out a few biscuits, melted off the chocolate with a hairdryer, and got to work. Inside, I injected a special filling, not cream, not caramel, ghost pepper extract. The kind of chili that makes grown men weep, beg for mercy, and rethink their entire existence. I mixed it with capsaicin oil for extra fire, stuff so hot it could burn through steel. Then I recoated the biscuits in melted chocolate, resealed the packet with the heat sealer, and made it look pristine. A perfect Tim Tam to the naked eye. I placed the sabotaged pack in my sock drawer, same spot as the last theft. If Cam was the culprit, he'd go straight for it. Then I waited. I didn't have to wait long. That night, I was in bed pretending to sleep, ears straining. Around 11 p.m, I heard it. The creak of a floorboard, the soft scrape of my drawer opening, footsteps retreating down the hall. My heart was pounding. The trap was sprung. Then it came. A cough. No, a gag. Then a full-on choking sound, like someone had swallowed a live wasp. I bolted upright, threw on a hoodie, and strolled into the lounge, casual as you like. There was Cam, red-faced, eyes streaming, chugging milk straight from the carton like it was his lifeline. The empty Tim Tams wrapper sat on the counter, one half-eaten biscuit beside it, the chili filling oozing out like a crime scene. "Mate, you all right?" I said, leaning against the doorway. Cam dropped the carton, milk splashing everywhere. "You're fucking Tim Tams, bro. What the hell? My mouth's on fire." I crossed my arms, cool as a cucumber. "Oh, I thought you said you hadn't seen my Tim Tams." His eyes widened. He knew he was caught. Busted. Cam tried to laugh it off, wiping sweat from his brow. "Come on, mate. It's just a snack. No need to go all Gordon Ramsay on me." "Just a snack," I snapped. "You've nicked 5 packs, Cam. That's not a snack. That's a bloody heist." Josh and Mick stumbled out of their rooms, drawn by the commotion. I laid it all out. The missing Tim Tams, the empty vapors, the sting operation. Cam stood there, looking like a kid caught nicking lollies from the servo. Josh shook his head. "You owe him, mate. Big time." Mick, half asleep, muttered, "That's low, Cam." Cam mumbled an apology, but it was too late. Trust in a share house is like milk. Once it's curdled, there's no saving it. I could have stopped there. I had my confession, I had my justice, but something didn't sit right. See, while Cam was choking on ghost peppers, I noticed something odd. The wrapper on the counter, it wasn't just 1 pack. There were 2 empty wrappers. My trap only had 1 pack. So where did the second one come from? Someone else was in on it. I didn't say anything that night. I let Cam slink off to his room, probably gargling ice water. But my mind was racing. 2 wrappers meant 2 thieves. Or maybe Cam was greedier than I thought. Either way, I needed answers. I had a secret weapon, a motion sensor camera I'd set up in my room after the first theft. Melbourne rentals are wild. You never know who's sneaking in. I'd hidden it behind a stack of books, angled to catch the draw. Time to review the footage. I plugged the camera into my laptop and scrubbed through the video. There it was, 10:57 p.m. The drawer opened. A hand reached in, grabbed the sabotaged Tim Tams and slipped out. But the figure wasn't Cam. It was Josh. Josh, the straight edge, quinoa eating, I'm above it all guy. The one who'd shaken his head and called Cam out. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just a snack theft anymore. This was a conspiracy. But there was more. The footage kept rolling. At 11:02 p.m, another figure crept in. This time, it was Cam, grabbing a second pack from the drawer, one I hadn't even known was there. 2 thieves, working separately, both targeting my Tim Tams. I'd been played. My sacred biscuits weren't just stolen, they were the prize in a bloody share heist ring. I wasn't just dealing with 1 snake. I had 2. Josh and Cam both pretending to be mates, both stealing my Tim Tams behind my back. Confronting them would be too easy. They'd deny it, laugh it off, or gang up on me. No, I needed something bigger, something that'll hit them where it hurt, something legendary. I spent the next day plotting. The chili prank was just the warm-up. Now I was going full-on Revenge Australia. Step 1, expose them. Step 2, make them pay. Step 3, make sure they never forgot. First, I needed more evidence. I set up the camera again, this time in the kitchen, hidden behind a box of Weet-Bix. I bought another pack of Tim Tams, real ones this time, and left them on the counter with a new note. Ethan's, touch and you're dead. I knew they wouldn't resist. Sure enough, the next morning, the pack was gone. I checked the footage. At 2 a.m, Josh crept in, grabbed the pack and stuffed it in his gym bag. An hour later, Cam did the same, only to find the pack already gone. He cursed under his breath and stormed off. They weren't even working together. They were competing to screw me over. Now I had them both on tape. Time for phase 2. I decided to hit them where it hurt most, their egos. Cam was obsessed with his Tinder profile, always bragging about his matches. Josh was the moral high ground guy, always lecturing us about fairness. I was going to tear them both down. I edited the footage into a short, damning clip. Josh sneaking into my room, Cam rifling through the drawer. Both of them stealing, lying, and pretending to be innocent. I added captions, Tim Tam thieves caught red-handed, and never trust a flatmate. Then I uploaded it to Reddit's r/pettyrevenge, tagging it with Melbourne, Tim Tams, and Aussie Justice. Within hours, it blew up. Hundreds of upvotes, comments flooding in. Tim Tam betrayal is a war crime. These blokes deserve worse than ghost peppers. Aussie snack justice at its finest. By the next morning, it hit 10,000 upvotes. Someone cross-posted it to r/Australia. Then it spread to X. My phone was buzzing with notifications. Strangers were DMing me, calling me a legend. A local meme page turned the footage into a GIF. Cam chugging milk, captioned, "When you steal a Tim Tam and regret your life." It was glorious. But I wasn't done. I printed out screenshots of the Reddit thread and taped them to the fridge. I added a note, "Thieves exposed. Pack your bags." When Cam and Josh saw it, they lost it. Cam stormed into the lounge waving his phone. "Mate, this is everywhere. My Tinder's dead. Girls are messaging me, calling me the Tim Tam bandit." Josh, usually calm, was redder than a sunburnt tourist. "You filmed us? That's an invasion of privacy." "Invasion of privacy?" I said. "Like sneaking into my room and stealing my biscuits? You're lucky I didn't call the cops for theft." Mick, who'd stayed out of it, was cacking himself on the couch. "You lot are stuffed. Should have left his Tim Tams alone." So, what's the moral of this yarn? In Australia, we take our Tim Tams seriously. They're not just biscuits, they're a way of life. You steal a mate's snacks, you're not just taking chocolate, you're breaking trust. And if you break that trust, you better be ready for a taste of karma laced with ghost peppers. The new flatmates? They're legends. We've got a house rule now. Nobody touches anyone's snacks. And my Tim Tams? They're locked in a safe under my bed. So, legends, what would you do if someone nicked your Tim Tams? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to Revenge Australia for more tales of sweet, sweet justice. Until next time, keep your snacks safe, your mates honest, and your revenge chocolatey. Cheers!
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.